is it? What's going on? Who's here? I'm here. You're here. Can you guess who's on Artist on Record today? Surprise guess. We're live. Everybody, welcome to the show. I am Stefan ADIKA. You are beautiful. And hey, we have a surprise guest, and he or she is beautiful. But can you guess who that person is? There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of dirt. There's new music. You want to know what's going on? Before you do know all that stuff, join us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, wherever you could download ADIKA. Take me in the toilet, in the bathroom, in the shower. Just take me somewhere. Everybody, I am Stefan ADIKA. If it's your first time here, subscribe, love me, share it. This is your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. It's all happening now on Artist on Record with ADIKA Live. Who is the wonderful mystery guest you're all dying to know? Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, it is the wonderful John Corabi. He's in the house. Give him a big round of applause. He's wonderful. He's beautiful. John, we love you. Welcome, John. Welcome. This is your life, Corabi. You're with Stefan ADIKA, Artist on Record Live, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. And by the way, this show is sponsored by Pampers for all diapers, for all your special needs. Everybody, welcome John Corabi.
Oddly enough, I'm wearing one right now.
Welcome. Everybody is going crazy. They don't even know you're here, but I brought you here. It's February 22nd. We're up and early, 9:04 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And whatever it's your time, people, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tell me how much you love Corabi, and put your questions for Corabi in the chat. We will get them answered, but give me a second. Let me talk to this guy and Yenta a little bit. We have special time. That's right. That's my other channel, Coffee Talk. Subscribe there too. So Corabi, good to see you. What is going on with you? What is going on?
Well, you know what? A lot, dude. Right now, I've got a new song that just came out like 2 days ago. It's called Your Own Worst Enemy, and just finished up a book. I can't really say too much about it yet, but I'm in the process of developing a TV show with some TV producers. So I'm just dabbling with a bunch of different shit, you know, and then I also just got elevated to night manager at 7-Eleven. They liked what I was doing with the Slurpees and hot dogs. So well, we got sound effects now. Awesome.
I gotta up the game here. Your new song is out right now. People could download it. Your Own Worst Enemy, correct, John? That's out right now. I see it's all posted everywhere.
Yeah, it literally came out. So it would have been the night before last, but it was yesterday morning at 12 a.m.
12 a.m. 12 a.m.
So far, so good. I'm getting really good feedback from it, so it's been pretty cool.
And that's where people could find you on www.johncorabi.com. Put some light on your face, John. You're so handsome. The ladies want to see you. Why you got to be like in the witness protection program?
There we
Look
are.
At this. Come on. So there.
I'm like that dude that like pissed off John Gotti, and he's hiding his face.
It's like we're going to do the interview like this, John, right now, you know. And we probably will be with some of the questions I'll ask you. But John, really quick, John, can the fans find you at this webpage? That's your legit official John Corabi.
That's my webpage, and then obviously I'm on Facebook, Instagram, you know, Twitter, like all the shit, whatever. I'm still trying to figure out what the deal is with TikTok. Everybody's like, nah, dude, TikTok, that's the way to go right now. And I'm like, it's crazy. It literally took me an hour and a half to figure out how to open the link to fucking do this thing today. So I'm like, TikTok, what the fuck is that?
Look at this, Debbie Mola. Thank you so much. I love Corabi. He made it big here on here. Oh, you're so beautiful. Thank you so much, Debbie, for that.
Thank you, Debbie.
Very sweet. You got a lot of fans out here. We see old fans out here too. There's Astrid that used to come to the Cat Club. We have Zandra over here. Where can we buy the new song? She's asking.
Zandra, it's anywhere. Like, I mean, it's pretty much on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio. It's on Apple Tunes, whatever. All that shit is wherever you can download or stream it. So it's out there. You just type it in whatever service you listen to music on, type it in, it's there. I checked them all yesterday, so it's pretty good.
And you know what? Links after the show's over, all links will be in our descriptions down below for anywhere you want to find Corabi. I'll make sure it's posted there. And if you want to try to hit him up for an interview, you got to call his PR person for that one. Corabi, so let me ask you, you're making the news. You're everywhere. You got new music coming out, right? That's it. Who's playing on this new song?
Again, for now, like it's been weird trying to get my band guys together. Like Phil and Jeremy, my guitar players, have been on tour with Ace Frehley. Ian, my son, has been on tour with his band Rehab. And then Topher, my bass player, just recently moved a few months ago. He moved to Florida. So I've been kind of left here, my own devices. I don't know if you can see. So I've got all these guitars and I've got a little home studio. So what I've been doing is recording everything here at my house alone. And then I send the files to Marty Fredrickson. And then I wanted to get Ian to play on this last track, but he was out on tour. So I just had Marty's son again, Evan. He played drums on the track. And then my good friend Anthony Fox, Marty mixed it, Anthony mastered it, and I just uploaded it the other day. So keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully this thing will, it's so weird. I don't understand still to this day the whole streaming, downloading. It's so different than when I first got into the business. So I'm figuring it out.
You know what? You're with me. I don't get it. Let me ask you. Marty Fredrickson. Everybody who don't know who he is, he's a very successful, famous, has a great resume. Tell the people his resume a little bit.
Marty, he's a producer, but he's an amazing songwriter as well. Like he did. God, I think he did Just Push Play. He wrote a couple of songs. He wrote a couple big songs with Aerosmith, like Jaded, the song Jaded. He co-wrote that with Steven. He's produced a bunch of stuff. Hi, Kana. I'll send you the song in a little bit. Kana's a really good friend of mine from, she's helping me set up all the radio and stuff in Japan.
Oh, awesome. Hi, Kana. Nice to meet you, Kana. Hey, Kana, tell people about me also in Japan. Stefan ADIKA. I'm the guy that got John Corabi to play with Eddie Van Halen. That's a true story, girl.
True story. Yeah, Marty produced like he did some Def Leppard. He did a Motley Crue, Saints of Los Angeles. He co-wrote a bunch of stuff on that with Nikki. So he's been around. And then Marty did all the Dead Daisies stuff that I did with the guys. And so he's a good pal. Like, we get together and, we'll go over here. I have the motorhome. We'll go over to the lake near my house and we'll sit around, watch some TV, eat some edibles, have a Guinness, and call it a day.
Okay. That's fun. That's fun. Now, you know what? This is a conversation with John and I. So everybody, this is not the normal interview that John normally does. So I'm going to make it very special for you. Sit down, grab your cups of coffee, fix your wigs, get your life together. Just spend some time with us, everybody. We got Corabi. John Corabi has some new music out. If you're just tuning in right now, he has a new song that's going out there all over the airwaves, Your Own Worst Enemy, or the internet waves, whatever you want to call it, you crazy kids these days. And you know what? I want to play some of the music. You think by chance, is it out there that I could try to sample some of this? Is it on Spotify?
Yes, it is.
It's on Spotify. John, while I try to look this up, I got to ask you, what is your opinion? I know it's old news, but Neil Young, all these people pulling their music from Spotify. What's your opinion about the whole Spotify thing that went down?
You know what? Look, I kind of understand both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? And that, I think, honestly, like, I love Neil Young. Yeah. And, I don't necessarily agree with everything that Joe Rogan says, but to each his own, man. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that nowadays people have kind of lost. I don't know what the word is. They've lost all sense of reasoning. You know what I mean? Like you'll see these people, for example, somebody will get on a plane and I've seen like videos, and I've actually been on a couple of flights where somebody was arguing about having to wear a mask.
Okay.
And they're like, well, I don't want to wear a mask. You're infringing on my rights, which I understand that part. Okay. I do understand that. But at the same time, it's also the plane company's right to insist that you wear a mask. And if you don't want to wear the mask, then just don't fucking fly. And I think that's, people are getting a little crazy with their opinions. It for some reason, we've gotten to the point where it's like my opinion is more valuable than anybody else's. You know what I mean? I just don't understand that. Whatever. That's why they have Baskin Robbins has 32 flavors. If you don't like vanilla, try the chocolate. Whatever.
Corabi, you are right about that. You are right about that. We have the fans writing in here right now. Look at this. Former Motley Crue frontman John Corabi has released a new single, Your Own Worst Enemy, which is available now on all digital platforms. You're done too. She's a big fan. She is wonderful. Thank you for doing that. She helps me out. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, hon. You know what? Let's see if we could give the fans a little copy of what John's new music is. If I could make this work, okay? Watch this without getting copyright strike, John. It shows right here. Is it playing? Something going on? That's not it?
That's not the song.
Oh. You know who that is?
I have no idea.
You know who that is? I know who that is. I think they're trying to bamboozle you. Why is there another singer's song on your track? We're going to talk about this in a second. Hold on. Look at this, John. I swear to you, right now, I got you right there, and it's not playing it. How about that, John?
Well, if it's like a playlist or a radio station, you actually got to scroll to the song. It might be.
This is Spotify.
Yeah, but it's a playlist, dude.
It's not a playlist. This is the other song you did. Watch it. No, it's wow. It's playing everybody else
because it's in a playlist with 50 other songs.
Oh God, I gotta forget it. You know what? I don't have the patience for this.
Work.
Just go. You know what? You're in a playlist now. You're hocking me China here. I tried to do you good. This is what you do to me. God, John, I can't even do right here. You know?
Need to fire your producer. Oh wait,
I need. What is your worst enemy? Is this it right here? Hold on. No, it's Vince Neil's music coming up here.
Story of my life.
What the hell? I'm getting Vince. I'm trying to get you. All right, everybody. We got John Corabi. He does have a new song. You know what? Check it out. Google it. I'll put the links down there that you could hit it on there, right? It's Your Own Worst Enemy. It's wonderful. Speaking of Vince Neil, I got to ask you a question. You are making the news everywhere. People want to know these stories. So I got to ask you, has Vince ever called you for vocal lessons?
No, Vince is a good dude, man. Like, you know, it's funny. Everybody assumes that Vince and I can't stand each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's really funny. We did a festival together here in Nashville, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I played earlier in the evening, and I kind of hung out for a little bit, and I had some cocktails with some friends, and then I was leaving, and I was walking past his bus, and the guys in his band came out, and they're like, dude, Vince wants to say hi. So I went on the bus, and we sat there for a fucking hour, and we just sat there and bullshitted, and we were laughing about a bunch of stuff. And then it was funny. He did the Monsters on the Mount, unfortunately fell and broke some ribs, but you know, a little freak accident. But it was funny. The next day, the guys in his band, obviously everybody knows it's Slaughter.
Yeah, so, Dana Strum is his manager, right?
Yeah, and Dana and Mark and Jeff Blando, and they were all there. And I played 2 or 3 times that weekend. and I was leaving the venue, and I saw Dana, and they were like, "Oh, hey, dude, man, I got to tell you, as soon as we got here last night, Vince saw that you were on the bill, and he was looking for you. Like he just wanted to say hi." So we actually get along. Again, without opening a can,
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking with Tommy quite a bit. I always talk to Mick. You know, we'll text each other like funny little memes and shit like that. I get along with Vince, but it's for some reason Nicky's just got a fucking thing for me. I don't know what it is.
What's up with Nikki? You know, not only you,
I couldn't tell you.
you know who Nikki has a problem with? John. Poor Debbie Muller. Nikki blocked her. Oh, look at this. Come on, Nikki. It's a sin. Nikki, make up with Debbie. What happened? Fan. She's a lovely fan. What happened over here? Hey, what's the deal with Nikki? Why does he have a problem?
I don't know because, you know, look, it's kind of common knowledge. I sued them in 97 or 98, whatever. We settled the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it, I was in a band with them after that in 2003 called Brides of Destruction.
I remember Tracy Guns.
Yeah.
That was Cat Club days.
Yeah. And we did it. And if you remember, I was going through a divorce with my second wife. And I honestly, it had nothing to do with anything, but my head just wasn't in the band.
Hmm.
I was all over the place. And
that was with the singer London, the hairdresser. Remember?
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
And I had some opinions on the band. Now it's weird. I've been reading that I didn't get along with Tracy Guns. That was not the case. I read that I didn't get along with Nikki. That wasn't the case. I just left the band because I didn't understand the direction the band was taking musically. And I was going through a bunch of personal shit with Layla at the time, which you remember. You and I were therapists for each other for a long time. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to tap out. I'm going to go do something else. It had nothing to do with anything. And everything was fine. And then all of a sudden it just started like 5 years ago, you know, Nikki just started doing interviews and just kind of taking pot shots at me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even give a shit. Doesn't matter. I'm beyond past it. I'm just trying to, you know, like I said, just trying to make ends meet like everybody else.
So you think his feelings were hurt because you said no to him?
I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. I really don't. Like we even had one little issue. A guy had asked me what I thought of his book, The Heroin Diaries. And I told him, and I said, it's a great read. I actually complimented the book. I said, it's a great read. I bought the book. And then the guy asked me if he said, do you believe it? You know, do you think it was colored at all? And I made a comment. I'm like, yeah, I think it was colored a little bit. Obviously, if you look at the Tommy and Pam series on Hulu, it's colored. If you look at The Dirt, it's colored. And I said, you know, and all I said was everybody that I knew, and I'm sure you've dealt with a few as well, Stefan, like everybody that I knew that did heroin was not functional enough to be able to write shit down or remember what they did the day before. That's all I said. But I closed it with, but it's a great read. It's an awesome book. I bought it, and kudos to Nikki. And he took offense to it. And then he wrote to me, and we had a little bit of an exchange. Mm-hmm. And finally, I just said, Nikki, read the whole interview. Read the whole interview. And I'm sorry you feel that way, but, you know, and then I just closed with, why do you even give a shit about anything I have to say? We haven't seen each other in 20 years.
Was the exchange on a phone call, email, text?
We were emailing each other. Yeah. And I just said, why do you care about what I'm doing? And then it was funny, like a couple of days later, he wrote back, he goes, oh, cool, bro, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then he sent me a bunch of photos. He was doing an art book, like a photo book. And he sent me a bunch of photos and everything was fine. I'm like, great work, dude. Congratulations on the new photo book, blah, blah, blah. All good. And that's it. But then all of a sudden, like, 5 years later, 8 years later, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get the disconnect. But and it's funny, all the fans are sitting there like, anytime I open my mouth about Motley, all the sites run with it, the blabbermouths.
You just made headlines all over the place.
Yeah, because I said something about the Tommy and Pam thing, and it's like, if I say I don't want to talk about it, then I'm a dick for not talking about it, and then the fans are like, oh, what an asshole. Like, Motley gave him the opportunity of a lifetime, and that's how he thanks them. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's blah, blah, blah. So I'm a dick if I don't say anything, and I'm a dick if I do. So I just said, you know what, fuck it. I don't give a shit. You want to ask me something, ask me. I'm going to give you my honest answer. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. I don't care.
But if you could be friends with Nikki, if he said, John, let's get a cup of coffee.
Listen, I will say this, and I just I did the book, and when I was in that band, they went out of their way to make me feel welcome. It got a little convoluted at the end, but they made me feel welcome, and I'll never forget it. And the bottom line of it is, I'm not stupid. Whether I want to talk about Motley or not, fans and promoters and agents, I'm always going to be the other singer from Motley Crue. I can't change that. I'm not pushing it. It's not my agenda to push it, but that's how people perceive me. That's how they see me. And to be honest with you, it's actually given me some longevity in my career because of it. So I thank them for that. But it's like, fuck, man, like, I can't.
The story is a great story. Here we go. Donnell, thank you so much. Roses are red, violets are blue. John Corabi, Debbie Mullet is in love with you. Oh, thank you. Debbie, thank you so much. I shared about your new book with Nikki on IG, got blocked. Laughing. Nikki who? She got.
You know what? Honestly, I feel like I don't even worry about it. Like, I don't want to be vindictive to Nikki, and if he wants to be vindictive, that's his prerogative. He can do whatever he wants. Again, there's no reason for the fans to sit there and go, John's a better singer. Vince is a better singer. I never once said that I was better than Vince. I'm a different singer than Vince. Okay. But Vince, they're right. Vince has a very distinctive voice. He was, he was a big part of the reason why they were as successful as they were. I've never knocked Vince. I've never knocked Mick or Tommy or Nikki. Whatever. And I just wish the fans would just let it go. It is what it is.
Motley Crue, the original sound with Vince's vocals. It really, it's a unique sound, but it worked for their soup that they were making, and it really did. It worked.
Right.
When you got in the Crue, it was just a different version, a different sound of the Crue. It was really it was a great band. It's just it wasn't Too Fast for Love, Shout the Devil type of music. The music changed.
It was just it. And there was really no rhyme or reason to anything, because when we got together, we just sat in a room and jammed. And if things started developing and turning into songs, that's where we let it go. And if they say, well, it was a grunge record. Okay, well, if that's how you see it, then again, that's your opinion. You know what I mean? Some people look at the painting and they notice the yellow. Other people's look at the painting and notice the red. It's like, whatever. I'm not solving world hunger. I'm just a musician that plays an A chord and sticks a fucking melody over it.
Wait, hold on. People are saying we're getting buffering here. Is there buffering out there, everybody? I'm sorry. Oh, no, that's not good. You know what? We're plugged direct in the router, so it could be the time of day that the internet's acting weird, but it should be working good here, and it's showing it's good on my end. So everybody,
I've got a clear picture. So
I have a clear picture of John too. So it's not buffering here, but I hope.
And I'm going through I'm going through a tornado alert and a heavy downpour. So
Are you really? And you
yeah,
know
it's
what?
pouring right now here
uh,
in Nashville, and
well,
they've been giving us tornado alerts all
well,
day.
then it's John's fault. That's
Yeah.
it. It's
Okay.
totally John's fault over here. But no, the internet's looking good here, everybody. It's not buffering over here. So, and I got a little screen here, so I'll keep it over there just to watch it to make sure we're kosher. But everybody, we're talking with John Corabi. If it's your first time popping up right now, thank you. Please, please, please. We're live on the air, and I got to ask you a question. Subscribe if you like what you hear, and it's your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. And today in the hot seat is Mr. John Corabi, handsome, debonair. John Corabi has new music out, and we want you to go. We'll put the links down below. Your Own Worst Enemy. It's out now. John's a great songwriter. He's a great friend. So you know what? Give him a round of applause again. He's beautiful, everybody. Look at that, John. People, you love that? You love that? Let's get a little closer.
We got sound effects now. This is awesome.
Let's we'll bring our image closer to the people out there, because we're getting serious, and we're talking about everybody's favorite John Corabi and his relationship right now when he was with Motley Crue right there. Look at you, John, huh? Was this the first photo session you did with the crew?
No, that actually, I remember that one. That's in Germany. We did a press tour. God, it was right before the record came out, and we went to Milan and Munich, Madrid. We did London and Paris, and these photos were taken in Munich, Germany. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I think I'm high as a kite hunting ducks with a rake. I think Tommy and I smoked a big fucking joint before that. Whatever.
Look at Tommy. He looks like a UFC, like he'll kill somebody. He looks tough. Look at him. Huh?
Yeah.
You don't mess with Tommy. I got to ask you a question now. Tommy looks he's a tough looking guy. So you got all the schisms going on about the Pam and Tommy movie. So what's the deal? Who is the real Tommy Lee? That's what I want to know. Who is the real? I mean, you guys look connected here. You guys look good together. Look, you guys are looking at each other. So who's the real Tommy Lee? How
you know what? I will say this. You know, I was in the band almost 5 years, and it was insanity at its finest at times. You know, and Tommy, I've always likened Tommy to be like, he was like, well, now he's older, but he was like an 8-year-old trapped in a fucking 40-year-old body. He's just inquisitive about everything. He's super talented, plays guitar, plays drums, plays piano. He's great at Pro Tools and recording. He records all his own shit. And he's got energy for days. I've never seen anybody. It was funny because I would go over to Tommy's house almost every day, and we would write and drink together and hang out. And then when we toured, Nikki and Mick were on one bus, and Nikki and Mick were on one bus because they were sober. Tommy and I were on another bus because we were kind of the party guys. And Tommy was just he had so much energy, dude. We would literally sit and drink till 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would crawl to bed, and Tommy would go to bed, and then I would hear him at like 8 in the morning on the bus making coffee and eggs and shit, and I'm like, how the fuck? And he would just go the whole day on like 3 hours sleep. So he's exactly, to a degree, he's exactly what you think he would be. Just energy, inquisitive, funny. But the thing of it is, I'm kind of now getting a lot of shit or whatever because I made a comment about that Tommy and Pam thing. And again, to each his own. My whole point was I was sitting here watching it, and I watched a couple of episodes, and then it was just unwatchable to me. And I sat there and I went, you know who I feel bad for is Pam, that she's got to relive it again. Tommy's now remarried to a girl named Brittany Ferlin. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, maybe they're fine, but I just sat there and I'm like, you know, if she's got to watch this Hulu thing, or maybe they're not even watching it, but all this talk now because it's garnering all this talk and all this press, and she's just got to see this bullshit constantly about her husband's ex-wife and the escapades of their whatever. And I'm like, well, that kind of blows for her.
Yeah.
And then you know, they've got the two boys, Dylan and
which they're adults now.
Brandon and I think it's Jagger. You know, I'm just sitting there going, fuck, like, you know, here's two 20-year-old boys that got to sit here and, you know, see a video about how their mom and dad were doing all this, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, guys, man, fucking seriously, it was 27 fucking years ago. This is the best thing you could fucking write about right now. Like, you got to rehash the shit. And then the fact that they've got everything wrong is like, oh my God, it's just, it was kind of pathetic to me, you know. I mean, Hulu's going to make $1 million on it, you know, but it's just, they're making $1 million at somebody else's expense. And I said something, and now it's coming back to bite me in the ass.
Are you getting a lot of bites in your ass right now?
Yeah,
from this?
dude, it's like, come on. Oh, what did you expect, Crab? What are you, a fucking idiot? Or it's like the other guys, they're like, well, he's got a new song out. He just needs the press. So and I'm like, dude, I wasn't even thinking about that. You know what I mean? I just made a statement and whatever. If you don't like it, fuck off.
I mean, you got a lot of reaction out of it. Even before the press went after it, there was guys like Ricky Rocket writing it. Stefan ADIKA, famous YouTube sensation, wrote on it.
By the way, I just want to tell you, Ricky called me yesterday and he thanked me for putting you guys in touch. He said he had a great time on your show.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great guy, Ricky. I want to do more with him. I'd like to go vlogging with him. Thank you for hooking it up. Ricky Rocket, you're wonderful. Anytime. Knuckles to you. Great guy. And thank you for that, John. You know, you got a lot of press. You know, the people love the drama. Here's the situation with the Blabbermouth and the Brave Worlds. And if you guys are picking this up, hey, can you just get the name right? It's Artist on Record starring ADIKA Live. Just fix the name. But anyway, you know, everybody wants to be you know, I have a connection with this movie too, you know. I don't want you to be mad at me.
Was it your dick that did the stunts talking?
I didn't do the talking. I thought it was, I want to know if the talking prick got you the gig. It said, we want this guy in the band.
Yes, actually, I met the dick. The dick was very lovely. We had a cup of tea together.
Did you ever see, let me ask, did you ever see it in person? Tommy's the real?
No, and that was one of the things that I was just sitting there.
Debbie Muller wanted to know. That's why I asked. I would never ask these questions.
Sitting there watching the show. And, you know, right out of the gate, Tommy comes out of a bedroom and he's wearing a Speedo and he's just walking around the whole time in a fucking Speedo underwear. And I go, you know what's funny? I go, I was in that band for almost 5 years. I was on a tour bus with Tommy for 4 months. And at no time did I ever see him in his underwear. Like, he literally just walked around all the time in skinny jeans and a white wife beater. You know, and it was like, I never saw that man in his underwear.
So you never saw him in the underwear. You never saw like him changing out the shorts or the pants. Never. Because I saw Bobby Blotzer in his underwear.
Well, that's a whole other story.
It was like that. It was a thumb. It was a thumb. That's why he won't come on my show. He's afraid I'll expose him because, you know, he was friends with Tommy. You can see him in the Rat video. Yeah. You know, one has, you know, super cock and one has no cock. I don't know what to say here. Hope I don't get banned, but get in trouble over here. So you never saw it up close.
No, and I kind of make a joke about it. Okay. Like, you know, it's funny, like, you know, because like when I do my acoustic set,
yeah,
I'll do a couple Motley songs, and I kind of it's for a couple reasons. It's for humor, but it's also too so I don't have to answer the questions later. But I get ready to do a couple songs, and I tell everybody, I say, look, I know you guys are going to ask me at some point in the evening, so I'm going to answer it while I'm tuning my guitar and I'm doing this thing and I'm talking into mic, and I go, so most of you guys ask me like, hey dude, you know, what was it like to be in Motley? And I go, you know, and then I say, what I remember of it, it seemed pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. And then I said, now you guys are going to ask me if I saw the dirt. And I said, yes. And, you know, and then I say, you know, did you like it? No, not really. I didn't really care for it. And they ask why. And I say, well, because they couldn't get Morgan Freeman to play me. Okay. And then, you know, and then I go on and they say how they wanted to meet everybody, or like, what was everybody like in the band? And as I'm explaining, I say, you know, you go up, you meet Tommy, and he's got the wife beater and the hat on backwards, and he's spinning his sticks, and he's got all this energy, and he's like, and he's hitting the drums, and he's like, check out my dick. But I've never seen his dick. And then, you know, and then I even say to the women, I said, a lot of you women always ask me, is Tommy Lee's penis really that big? And I go, it's not like I measured it. It's not like I held it for weight, but I'm pretty sure I saw the video. And if you can throw a dick off the end of the boat and it changes directions, it's pretty big dick. So just run with that. Whatever.
The video might have made him the ultimate best drummer in the world to some people. So, you know,
No, you know what? That was I will say this, man. That was truly, like, it doesn't even, this movie doesn't even explain the magnitude of shit that was going on with those two when they got married.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I remember Tommy, the house that they were supposedly rebuilding was actually offered to me. I just didn't have the cash flow to buy it. This guy,
so the house in the movie,
he tried to sell it to me, and it was some guy that we knew. I lived in Thousand Oaks, and me and this friend of mine, Judy and Gary, it was their friend. And he was like, dude, you know, he invested all this money in this house. He was a developer. He was a contractor guy. And he built this house. And he had this corner lot right at, and you'll know where it is, Cannon Road and Mulholland.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So if you go up from 101 towards Malibu, you would make a left onto Mulholland. And it was like, boom, it was right there. And it was this huge home. It was like 8,000, 9,000 square feet. And the guy took me to see the house, and now you'll appreciate this. He goes, dude, I had this house on sale. It was like 2.3 million. And then he had to lower the price. This was like 95 when the housing market was kind of taking a shit.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I'll give you a great deal on this house. And he had initially listed the house for like 2-point-something million, and then he lowered it to like 1.8, then 1.6, then 1.2, and he was just, so now he said, I just want out of this what I've invested into the land and the materials to build the house. So I go take a look at it, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking around, and it was beautiful. It had an elevator in the garage. Like, you get out of your car, you get in the elevator, it takes you up to the first floor and then right into the bedroom. Crazy shit. And he goes, I will sell you, I'll give you the keys right now for this house. It was like 8,000 or 9,000 square feet. And it was on a lot that was about an acre in Malibu. It's a Malibu zip code. And he goes, and if you give me the cash right now, I'll throw in that other lot right next to it, which was like another 2 acres. Wow. So you're looking at like 3 acres of land with this 8,000 square foot home. And the guy goes, give me 600,000 right now, and I'll hand you the keys. And I just didn't have it.
600,000
for the whole thing. 3 acres and an 8,000 square foot home.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was like, fuck, like, now, Tommy and Pam had just gotten married. They moved into this beach house in Malibu that Tommy was renting for like $12,000 a month. And so I called him on the phone. I go, hey, dude, this guy's got this fucking house. Tommy got in his car. It came right up. We did a walk through the house. And he's like, so.
You and Tommy did a walk through the house?
Yeah, I was there when Tommy did the walkthrough.
Was Pam there too, or just Tommy?
I don't remember if Pam was there, but I know like they had just gotten married, but Tommy came up and he looked, he goes, I can get 3 acres and this house for $600K. Yes. And Tommy goes, hold on. And he called the accountant and they fucking couriered a check and, you know, done deal. And then they started like it wasn't finished yet though. Like there was no grass.
Yeah.
It was just mud. They were still kind of building the house. So Tommy bought it and then brought Pam over. And then that's when they decided to do the love room with the swing and like all this shit. So it wasn't a thing where he already had the house and he had started doing one thing and then they went in a different direction when he got married. He bought the house right after they got married. And you know what I mean? And it was just like,
but wait a second, John, this is breaking news. You found basically the house that Pam and Tommy got, and then they went to fix it up. So in some kind of crazy way, because you found the house, then they had to fix it up because they want to do things to this new house. We need to find the contractors.
Right. And
that's your fault.
Around the same time, we started writing for what became Generation Swine. So we had electricity in the house. So
there's no Vince Neil in this scene now.
No. We brought all our gear over to Tommy's house, and we set up shop in this. He had a massive garage and basement, so we just set up shop there
in the garage, like they did, like they're doing in the Hulu series, or it didn't look like a garage. It looked nice.
It was a huge garage. It was like a 4-car garage or whatever, with an elevator and all this crazy shit. But we kind of set up shop there and we started writing at Tommy's house. And then they were doing the construction like upstairs and up in the bedrooms. But we didn't hear anything. We were in the garage, like just dicking around. So we were all there. We were rehearsing at the house when the safe got stolen.
Wow.
Yeah. So the whole thing was like,
this is breaking news. This is breaking news. Hey, Brave World, all you guys out there seeing this, you get the story right here on this show. Thank you. Look, now you're sweating. Don't worry. These are good stories, John. Don't sweat. I'm not ruining your career. I'm making it fun. Wait, so you were there when the safe when the safe got, were you there when you heard the news about the safe getting stolen?
Well, I think there was a little bit of a break. We had a little break or some shit, and now, if memory serves me correctly, I could be wrong on this. Again, like if you watch the Hulu thing, they're like, Tommy owes me, 10,000, or Tommy owes me 20,000, or Tommy, now he's changing his fucking mind again, and blah, blah, blah. And the funny thing of it is, if memory serves me correctly, Tommy never dealt with cash. He probably sat down and talked with the guy, and then at that point, that guy would talk to Tommy's accountant.
Yeah,
and it was, Tommy wasn't even in the fucking equation. And then the second thing was, I do believe Tommy fired the guys, but only because it was taking them way fucking longer than they initially stated in the quote. Like, hey, we can knock this out in a month and a half. And it was like, fuck, dude, it was like months of just guys showing up every day and, all the shit. But the whole time it was insanity, bro. Like it was, I remember Tommy, now at one point we switched and we went from Tommy's over to Nikki's house, who lived maybe 8 miles away, and we set up shop over there. That's where we were recorded what became Generation Swine. But it was funny, like Tommy was in the news, like there was at one point they had kind of a fence around their place, like a privacy fence, no. Actually, it was a wall. It was like a 10-foot wall they had built around the whole place because press people were just showing up like all the time, getting photos. And at one point, they were going to put a pool in, but they didn't do it yet. So at one point, Tommy and Pam were in their house, and it was just in the middle of summer or whatever. And they just went outside and they fucking took all their clothes off behind the fence of their house. It's not like they were running around on Mulholland. And they were kidding each other. They had super soakers and the hose, and they were just fucking off to cool off. And Tommy noticed a guy, the press guys had climbed the wall and they were up in a tree and they were snapping photos of Pam. So Tommy ran into the house and he got a shotgun. It wasn't loaded, but he just clicked it and he aimed it at the guy. You know what I mean? And it was just crazy shit going on. Like I remember we had to go to New York and we met with the record label, and it was me, Nikki, Tommy, and Pam. They flew a private jet out for us. We flew out to New York. And as soon as we got there, they made arrangements. Tommy wanted to go see that Broadway show, Stomp. Remember that show?
I remember. Yeah.
So we went to go see Stomp. And so we went into the theater. And on the way out of the theater to get back into the car, they got wind that we were all there. And they didn't even give a shit about me and Nikki. It was like Tommy and Pam. Tommy and Pam are at Stomp. And I shit you not, when we came out of that fucking building, dude, it was like, there was like 200 paparazzi there. And Nikki had sliced his hand open earlier in the day, or a couple days before, had some surgery or some shit on his hand. And he had a bandage on. And they rushed, the paparazzi bum rushed Tommy and Pam so bad that I fell on the ground. They were literally stomping on me. I'm laying on the ground like this. They pushed Nikki so hard it ripped open where he had stitches in his hand. And so Nikki got up and he just started pummeling some of these guys. I got up and started pummeling some of these guys. It was complete insanity every fucking day. Anywhere they went, anything they did, it was just
chaos everywhere.
It was chaos all the time. As soon as he married her, like the chaos level went from like 3 to like 40. It was crazy.
That is funny. So basically, that band that they're showing him jamming in the garage is really it was Crue doing Crue.
It was the Crue.
It wasn't his buddies. It was Did you see the workers around the house when you were over there? Did you?
Yeah, all the time.
You'd see them.
Yeah, they'd come in, they'd go up and they'd talk. Hey, T, we're going to do this. Hey, these light switches you wanted, we couldn't find them, but we're going to use these. Are you cool with that? Yep, I'm cool. Go do, whatever. And it's funny, like, so somebody just wrote to me a couple days ago. They're like, so did the guy really dress up as like an English sheepdog and go through the yard? And I go, what's funny? Tommy had 2 fucking Rottweilers. I know he had a male Rottweiler named Justice. And I can't remember the female. It was a male and a female. And I'm like, he didn't. Sheepdog, seriously? No. You know what I mean? It's just everything about it was like wrong.
How about the hair, the Seth Rogen hair? Do you remember any funky haircut like that on anybody or no? The haircut from Seth Rogen. You remember any funky haircut like that? Because that would stick out to me. The mullet.
Dude, there was like 20 guys in and out of that place.
So it wasn't like 2 guys. There was a bunch of guys because it makes it look like just
dudes. Like there was 8 guys doing concrete work. There was 4 or 5 guys doing.
There's a whole crew.
Work.
There's a whole crew.
There was a crew of guys doing drywall. You know what I mean? Whatever. But it was just. It's just. Whatever. It is what it is. But
here's the thing with that situation. I get it with Tommy because most contractors out there, they're crooks. They're thieves. I'm not saying all of you guys, but the most of you, it's hard to find good ones out there. So here they are. They're at Tommy Lee and Pam's house. They probably saw the safe. They didn't know what's in there. They go, you know what? Nobody will know it's us. And they came up with this thing, whatever. So,
Yeah.
Now, the story is great. Now, I have a mutual friend that's in the film, and I helped him prep for the role. It's a true story. I read the script with him. I have the script on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. Dice Clay. I was practicing him.
He was one of the people that turned him down.
Dice Clay. He
turned
him down.
I think he played like Oh, that's right. He lends them the money to do the website.
The dude, yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
which tomorrow night is Wednesday. I think it's the final one. I'm not promoting them. I don't want to get upset. But Dice is in it, so I promote Dice because he's my friend. And he does a great job.
Yeah, he was
good.
I will say this: the girl,
she looks like her,
that played Pam. Yeah. If you saw her, I think her name is Lily James.
Yeah,
she was in the movie. She was in the movie. She was great in the this other movie I saw.
She's an English actor. She's British.
She's English, and she was in a movie with Gary Oldman called The Darkest Hour, where he plays Winston Churchill, and she was his assistant that he's constantly yelling at. And then I saw that she was going to play Pam, and I'm like, wait, how the fuck? Because she's a brunette, and I'm like, what? And I saw the first episode and I was like, holy shit. Like, she nailed Pam's mannerisms and everything. And I couldn't believe it. But
she nailed it good. What about the guy who played Tommy Lee? How do you think he did as a Tommy Lee?
He was okay. I mean, he had some of his mannerisms, but it's like, again, he's acting to the script. And that's what I took offense to. I'm like, I never saw Tommy Lee walk around in a Speedo. I never saw Tommy Lee. Now the whole like licking of the face thing, yes, that was a Tommy Lee thing, but most of it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, now, did Tommy have a temper? Absolutely.
Did he really?
But I never took offense to Tommy's temper because most of the times I felt like Tommy was right. Like the gun thing with the guys peeping over his wall, taking naked, photos of his naked wife. Yeah, I would do the same fucking thing. Yeah. There was another time when, if everybody remembers, like Pam went to work. She went to work. She was a Baywatch and she collapsed and they had to rush her to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this was right after she was just super stressed about whatever. And it just all caught up with her and she collapsed. So they rushed her to the hospital. Tommy went and picked her up the next day. Like, they released her and she's in the car and they're driving home. And the paparazzi was so insane. Like, they were hanging out the thing, almost like a Diana Spencer thing, like in France, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Tommy was like, fuck, they're going to crash into us. They were crazy. So they got off the freeway and they started up Cannon Road. Tommy blocked them. He jumped out of the car and he jumped on the hood of their car and he kicked the windshield in. And he said, now you can't follow me.
I love it.
And I would have done the same thing. So I felt like a lot of the shit that he was kind of being pegged for at the time was kind of justified. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
why do you attract all the wild guys? What's wrong? What is this? What, Debbie? Tell us. Oh, not me, Debbie. Nothing with your YouTube sensation. I'm a normal guy over here. John, why do you attract all the crazy guys? But I love the stories. Tommy Lee, he's the ultimate rock star. You got to love him. The guy, first of all, he is a fantastic. He's a great drummer. Great. He is. He's fantastic.
I'll tell you this right now. In my opinion, I mean, John Bonham was, like, to me, the greatest rock drummer ever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I love Cozy Powell. I love Don Brewer from Grand Funk, all those legendary guys. But you know what? I will say this right now. Tommy Lee is right up there with him. That guy's got so much fucking rhythm. And it's weird. Like, even we would play shit and I would just sit there and watch and I'd be singing and I would just watch him do something and I would just start laughing. Like, okay, so this hand is doing this. This hand is doing something completely different. This foot is doing the bass drum and this one is doing the thing. And he's back there and he's spinning the sticks and doing all this shit.
Never losing the beat, never losing the groove.
Never lost a beat. And it was always right in time. Like, Tommy always plays with a click track. Always. And he is fucking spot on all the time. But it grooves. Like, some people play with a click track and it's very vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he plays, you just can't, like, if you listen to the beginning of Dr. Feelgood, It's just got a bounce to it. And you'll sit there, you can listen to the song and you can't help but find you start doing this because of Tommy and Primal Scream, that riff in Primal Scream. It's got such a fucking cool groove to it. And so he's Tommy's definitely going to go down as one of the greatest fucking rock drummers. And then he took the talent part, and then he said, you know what? I'm talented. I've got groove. Now I'm going to give you a show. And he just took it to a whole other level. So he's a god.
He definitely did take it to a whole nother level. Great drummer. You got to play with a lot of great drummers too, in the past. But he's definitely one of the greats up there. Well, how about the deal with the Third Eye Blind? That whole situation with the whole
never happened. And and now it's funny because even the guys from Third Eye Blind, or one of the guys, just said, "We never even met Motley Crue. Like, how the fuck did we get picked for this thing?" They were trying to show the irrelevance of Motley in the 90s and how these other bands were whatever. And it was just weird, but it's, again, that's what I was talking about. I'm like, well, first of all, we never had an issue with getting in the studio because we recorded at Tommy and Nikki's house. Now, after I left the band, they went into a place called Cornerstone Studios for a brief period of time to finish the record up with Vince. But they recorded that whole thing at Nikki's house. Nikki had a little home studio and he called it Butt Cheese West. And it was like, and Tommy's place was called Tommyland. So we recorded that whole we never saw anybody. And, at the very end, I had already been out. I started recording with Bruce Kulick, the Union shit.
Union, yeah.
And I went by the studio one day. I knew they were a Cornerstone. I had talked to Tommy. He invited me down. And I went by the studio to just play them a couple new tracks that I was doing with Union. And I was listening to shit. Robin Zander was there. He was doing some backing vocals. But it was at a place called Cornerstone.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, they were in one studio. And Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg and all those cats, they had the whole rest of the studio.
Wow.
That they were renting. So there was this crew of people just walking in and out. Third Eye Blind, forget about it. Never met them.
Now picture the crew going up to the Suge Knight's crew. Hey, man, this is our studio. Never happened.
No, that never happened either.
Never would happen. What about Nicky's uncle? Is this true or is this a rumor? I don't know if you know this. Was he president of Capitol Records, or did that help get Motley Crue a record deal? Do you ever heard about that story?
Yeah, Nicky told me about that when his uncle, I can't remember his name, but I think he was president of Capitol Records.
Yeah.
And yeah, he I don't know if it was uncle by blood or if it was just some guy that his parents knew, or his dad or his mom or his grandfather, whatever. But he kind of gave Nicky advice. Do you know what I mean? Nicky used to talk about it. I never met the guy. But at the same time, like, I just read something where he said he lived with him, but then I read other things where Nicky said that he lived kind of on the streets and he lived with, other people like Nader from London and, whatever. So I don't know, but he did definitely say that his uncle, I think his name was Frank or something, whatever, but he was a president of Capitol Records, I think.
Okay, so this point now, you started to work with Union now at this point. What you were doing Union while you're still in the crew, right? You're still
I was out.
You were out by
yeah.
At that point, you're out. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Well, so that is oddly enough, I had met Bruce Kulick many times. If you remember, my ex-wife Valerie used to do hair and makeup with Niels Lozauer. And she had worked with Kiss a few times. And then I met Bruce, who was very good friends, Don Zimmerman. Thank you. Is that who his uncle was?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's who it was. Yeah.
yeah, I met Bruce many times with Nikki. Nikki and Bruce were friends. And so when they told me they were bringing Vince back, if everybody remembers, Bruce had just gone through this with Kiss. They decided to put the makeup back on and they let Eric and Bruce go. Um, and it was Nikki who actually called Bruce and said, you know what, dude, like, I think you and Corabi would be really good together. Like, you guys have the same influences, like Zeppelin, Cream, Humble Pie, Aerosmith. Like, you guys are cut from the same cloth. And then Nikki called me and said I should call Bruce. So he tried to play matchmaker. And so we finally talked, and then we went down, and I wrote the first song I wrote with Bruce was a song called Around Again. So we did that. And it was kind of weird because not only were we going through the same shit with the band thing, but we were going through the same shit with girls. Like, I had been living with a girl named Robin, and she decided to, like, it wasn't working. And Bruce lost his gig, and he had a wife forever, and she decided it wasn't working anymore. So it was creative, but it was a therapeutic kind of thing as well. You know what I mean? And so we had started putting Union together, and I just called Tommy and Nikki. I kind of wanted to go down to let Nikki hear what we had done, because Nikki was the one that actually talked to Bruce and said, you should work with John. And he talked with me and said, I should work with Bruce. So he was kind of the matchmaker. So I just went to play him a couple songs. And when I walked in, like, Robin Zander was there. He was doing a vocal track.
Wow.
But they were just finishing up what became Generation Swine.
Wow. That was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
So what about, like, now, your relationship with Tommy? You and Tommy are cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got some I'm still a little butthurt about certain things that that happened between Tommy and I. And he probably doesn't even realize it. I never really sat down and talked with him about it. And but it's like, I don't literally, I'm not sitting there. I haven't said why publicly, why I'm, I don't want to say angry, but a little butthurt. But I don't like, I'm fine with Vince. If Vince walked in here right now, we'd sit down, crack a beer, and we'd sit here and bullshit for a couple of hours and just hang out and talk about life and family. And, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Same with Mick. I'll see Mick, and even though it didn't work out with Mick and I to do his solo record, we still stay in touch I get birthday greetings from him. Hey, dude, he calls me a bastard. He goes, what are you doing, you bastard? And I'll just get this random text like, hey, dude, whatever. It's just. So Mick will
keep it. Yeah, you did. Here's a great picture of you guys over there. But so you did something with Mick. You did a whole recording with Mick, which was never heard. Nobody even heard it, huh? At this point.
He released a couple snippets. I sang a song called Gimme Blood and another one called Shake the Cage. But he had written them with other people. He wrote them with a guy named Tommy Hendrickson from the Alice Cooper band.
Tommy, we know Tommy. Yeah.
Tommy wrote them with him, and they did a thing, and I don't know. And for whatever reason, Mick decided to completely re-record everything. And he just called me up and he goes, hey, Crab, I'd love to do a record with you, but your schedule's crazy. My schedule's crazy. But can you do these 2 songs? And I went, yeah, sure, dude. And I went in, and here in Nashville, and I sang the 2 tracks and whatever.
Yeah. What read that, John? Read this.
Give us the exclusive. Why are you butthurt over Tommy? Okay, so
here we go.
No. I'm okay with it, and maybe it's really because, what's that old phrase? Like, don't expect anything, because then you're never disappointed. You know what I mean? Kind of a deal. A few years back, actually quite a few years now, like 6 or 7 years ago. And I think you know this, Stefan. My son, Ian, was having some struggles with drugs. And he had called me up. And, you know, for those of you who may or may not know, I've never done, like, other than smoking a little weed or having a cocktail with somebody, I've never done any, like, cocaine. I wanted nothing to do with it. And Ian called me out of the clear blue one night and he goes, Dad, I know you're going to be really upset with me, but I've been doing heroin. And I was like, what? You know, so I started looking for my cigarettes. I'm like, what? And there was a thing for about, God, it was like, I don't think I slept for like 3 or 4 months. Like it was crazy. Like, and it was like clockwork. Almost nightly, Ian would call me up at like 2:00 in the morning, my time. And he would call me on the phone and he would just be like hysterical. And he's like beating himself up. Like, how did I get here? I don't even know why I'm doing this. I fucking hate myself. I'm going to kill myself. And then he would hang up. And then I'm wide awake, like, oh, fuck, you know, trying to get him back on the phone. And so this went on for a few months. And then finally he called me and said, can I come and stay with you and Debbie in Nashville? So I said, in all fairness, Debbie was my girlfriend at the time. I said, let me talk to Debbie. And as soon as I told her, I said, hey, he says he wants to get his shit together. Are you cool with me bringing him into our home? And again, you know, it's a fucking heroin addict. I'm like, is he going to come into my house and start selling my, you know, crystal fucking glassware or whatever for whatever? So she's like, yes, absolutely. Bring him out. So I called him on the phone and I said, I'll fly you out. So I got him a ticket, but I sent Tommy and Nikki an email. And I said, hey guys, I don't want anything from you. I just need to know, like, I've never dealt with anything like this before. How do I deal with this? And I just never got a response out of either one of them. Like, just never responded. And so I was like, you know what? Like, you guys watched my son grow up. You know, if you're mad at me, that's one thing. But this is like, you know, this is like a kid here that you watched grow up. I'm asking you for advice. You know, what do I do? Do I put him in a rehab? Is there, you know, so I wound up, like, I never heard back from them and I was pissed. I admit it. I was fucking pissed. I wound up calling Gary Corbett. If you remember Gary, he was the keyboard player with Kiss and Cinderella.
Passed away.
Yeah, Gary had some issues in the past with drugs. And as soon as I called Gary, I said, hey, dude, like, I don't really know how to handle this. And I told him what Ian was doing. And I don't think an hour later, Gary was at my house with an envelope. And with this, it's a drug that a lot of, when they do heroin, they put them in a, kind of weans them off the heroin kind of a deal. And it was called Suboxone. And Gary showed up at my house with an envelope full of this shit. And he goes, here's the deal. You need to dole this out. Just give him a little, it's like a strip and it has bars on it. He goes, give him 1 bar. He's probably going to sleep. And so I said, okay. And he said, don't give it to him. You need to dole it out because he can become addicted to this as well. But this is like an opiate blocker. I said, okay. And I did that for maybe 3 days. And then Ian was completely cool. He was off of it. He actually took the Suboxone and put it in an envelope and mailed it to his girlfriend back in California, who was also struggling with drug issues. But I was a little butthurt that I'm just sitting there going, you know, I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you to drop what you're doing and fly to Nashville and help me with this. I'm not asking you for anything but just like maybe type out in an email, hey, dude, call this guy. this counselor that we know. You know what I mean? And even if it would have costed me something, I would have paid for it. I was just asking for advice, and neither one of them responded to me. And I was a little, I'm over it now, but I was a little butthurt about it, and I was pissed. I've since started talking with Tommy again, and don't know what his deal was. I never brought it up. I don't really care. Whatever. I'm over it. But I just thought that was a little janky. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like you literally sat here. Tommy's the reason why my son plays drums.
Yeah.
Tommy saw Ian banging on a box, and he pulled me aside. We were like, I was in the band, and he goes, "Dude, I think your kid's going to be a drummer." And I go, "Why do you say that?" And he said, "Most kids, they do this at the same time." But he said Ian was going, Ian had like like he was doing the 1, 2, 3, 4 and the snare. He goes, "Dude, he's got the separation thing between the hi-hat and the snare. I think he's going to be a drummer." So Tommy got him a miniature Tommy Lee kit for his birthday or Christmas or some shit. And like, so Tommy is the reason why Ian plays drums. Ian, if you asked Ian would say John Bonham and Tommy Lee are the two greatest fucking drummers in America.
Yeah.
And Morgan Rose from Seven Dust. But it's like, I was a little bummed at that, and and I kind of carried that for a while. I was like, fuck those guys. Now, I've since started talking with Tommy. I never brought it up to him, but I'm sure once this airs, Blabbermouth will run with it.
So clear the air right now. So you and Tommy are good. Why yeah, why rehash the old and all that? But Ian, now there's just how's Ian doing these days? He has a new band. He has kids. Tell the audience what Ian is.
You know what? I'll say this. Like, first of all, there's something to be said about the old adage, like, an addict will not quit anything until they're ready to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Ian was ready to quit. He called me. I helped him. He came out here, 3 days of Suboxone. He put it in an envelope. He mailed it home. Now, we sat down on my front porch smoking a cigarette together, and he just said, "You know what, Dad? I've always just wanted to be in a band with you." Okay, I'll be right back. I ran in the house. I grabbed the Motley record, and I set it in front of him. And I said, "If you can play this fucking record note for note, the gig is yours." I had a drummer, a guy named Cheney Brannon, who played with Collective Soul. And I gave Ian the record, but I told him, I said, "Here's the deal. If you can learn this record note for note, gig is yours. But I will tell you this now, if I see you, if you want to smoke some weed with me and the guys, great. You want to have a cocktail or a beer with me and the guys, great. If I see you do coke, meth, like anything potent, you're fucking out, and I'll fly you right back to LA." Okay, I got it. And I'm telling you right now, knock on wood, that kid has been fucking stellar, dude. He's a hard worker. Even now, he does gigs with this band Rehab. He'll go out and he'll do a weekend run, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then he comes home. He'll come home Sunday. Monday morning, he's up doing construction as well. And he's doing contracting work. And he's learning another, a side trade. He's got 2 beautiful daughters. He met a girl named Carrie who already had 2 kids. So they've got 4. And he just dotes on those kids. He is fucking awesome. And I couldn't be more proud of him. He's a great
wonderful
kid.
That's wonderful. Ian, congratulations on your children and your family and your health. It's good to hear that. And you're still rocking. That's great. That's great stuff right there, John. Now
he's grown up a lot. He's grown up a lot.
How old is he now? How old is Ian?
He's 33, 34.
God.
34. And you know him since he was a little kid.
I remember when he was on the side of the stage watching Tishy and a little kid.
At a Gilby Clark show.
That's right.
Yep.
As a little kid.
And then later in life,
you might have been in Rat. You might have been in Rat at those days in that time.
It was funny. He came to visit me. I think he was 18, 17, 18. he came to visit me on the Rat tour. Bobby fired his drum tech and hired Ian on the spot. And he did the whole tour with us. And then he got a gig teching for Tishy in Whitesnake when Tishy was in Whitesnake. And he was going to the studio every day and he was setting Brian's shit up and tuning his drums for him and polishing his cymbals and everything. And he was hanging out with Doug Aldridge and David Coverdale and, you know, all the shit. So he was, you know, he was into it. But it, you know, ever since, as soon as his girlfriend got pregnant with the girls, the light bulb clicked and he's been fucking, even my wife said, she goes, man, Ian has really grown up a lot. He's become a man. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't be prouder of the kid.
There's some roads that'll take you the way and it'll just straighten you up. And that's you know what? He's got it together now. That's great to hear. Now, John, everybody who's tuning in, John has a new song out here, Your Own Worst Enemy. I wanted to play it, but John, I want to ask you, the song is out. You got the new music out. Touring is you know, showcasing your new music. Any talk about joining the cruise tour? You know, you think any possible thing?
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen, huh?
No, it's just, it'll never happen for multiple reasons. Like I don't want to open myself up to the scrutiny of everybody that still talks shit about me for being in the band in the first place. And to be honest with you, I think it would be a daily reminder to Vince, like, you know, in all due respect, like, oh, that's the fucking, you know what I mean? And then if, like, I know a lot of fans are like, oh, it'd be great if you played rhythm guitar and then you gave Vince a
like
break.
The Stones brought out Mick Taylor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then it's going to be, you know, there's always the fucking fans that, you know, they've got the giant ladle in their hand and they're behind the keyboard and they're like, Vince is better, John's better. Vince is it could never, ever, ever work. It would never work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
and to be honest with you, I don't even know why, again, like, I don't even know why Nikki's mad at me. I couldn't even tell you. You know, I even sent him an email. Like, I sent him on Instagram. I sent him a message like a year ago. I'm like, hey, dude, listen, time to bury the hatchet. Like, what's up? I guess he moved to like North Dakota or Wyoming or somewhere. And I was like, oh, pictures look great. Wow. Congratulations. Your daughter's beautiful, and crickets. So
if you could say something right now, because, you know, everybody watches YouTube, no matter where you are, if you could say something to Nikki Sixx right now, what would that message be?
Oh, I'm just, you know, hey, dude, like, I don't know, you know, I really, at this point, I've got nothing to say. I've said it all already, you know, tried to bury the hatchet. I don't know why he's mad. I'm not. I really don't care. You know what I mean? Whatever. I thank you for the opportunity of being in Motley, but, you know, I'm moving on, dude. Like, you know, I'm moving on. Whatever.
No, that's good. And you know what? I think people like to hear. See, John Corabi's here. John, now what the fans want to know is if you could pick top 5 songs or maybe albums, Motley Crue's top 5. Tell me what you would say is your top 5 favorite songs of the Crüe records. What would they be?
Live Wire. Love that one. I loved Live Wire. I loved Shout at the Devil was really cool too. Again, I'm not real familiar with a lot of their shit. Like, I don't know a lot of their deep cuts. I did like Wild Side. I liked performing that on stage. I would have to say, I also liked, which we never did it live, but I loved that there was a riff that they had in a song called City Boy Blues that I thought was a great riff. And for some reason, they didn't want to do the song. I wanted to do it, and we didn't do it. And then I love the fucking riff in Primal Scream. That song, I thought that was a great riff. You know, so that's my 5.
Those are your top 5 Motley Crue songs with Corabi right there. That's a great one, everybody, huh? Yeah, you love that. Top 5. See, the people love to know. I thought
How
you were
about my
say,
top 5 Stefan ADIKA songs? Come on now.
hey, come on. It's want to be a dog and stepping stone. It doesn't get better than that, Corabi, you know?
Yeah, just stop it right there. End of story. Fade to black.
End of story. You know what? This is John Corabi. He has a new song out there. I want you guys to go check it out. Links will be at the bottom. Your own worst enemy. But before we get John, it's so hard to get John. He's in the news. He says one thing. He's all over the place. And what is going on? First of all, were you ever going to be in Skid Row? What is this? I heard. I didn't know that. What did you? We're going to audition. What's the deal with that?
I had met Dave before I even moved to California.
Yeah.
And I don't know who they had. This is before they had Sebastian. And they had done some demos. And they sent me like 4 songs. I just remember hearing like 18 in Life and like some of those songs. And I was like, wow, this is really good. I know I just read something where Rachel said that I was supposed to come down for an audition that I know showed them, but it never got to that point. Dave sent me the tracks. I was in California. I was with Frank, Jimmy, Robert, and they sent me the tape, but there was 2 things happening in my brain. A, we were starting to get some interest from record labels in California. And I'm like, But the second thing, and probably the most important thing, was I felt this huge amount of guilt because I was the reason why Robert, Jimmy, and Frank and their families, and remember, Frank was married with kids, but they all moved out from Philadelphia.
That was the band Agora that you had, right?
On My Dream. Yeah, on My Dream. Yes, we have to be in California. Blah, blah, blah. So everybody moved out one at a time. And then we get settled. Angora was starting to pick up some steam in the cover circuit. And all of a sudden I get this call from Dave. Hey, I'm going to send you this tape, and John Bon Jovi's working with us and blah, 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 and I think this is going to be huge. And I got the tape, I listened to it, but I just sat there and I go, man, I would be the biggest fucking asshole on the fucking planet if I got all these guys to move to fucking LA for me to achieve my dream. And then I leave the band and turn around and go right back to Philadelphia and join Skid Row. I couldn't do it. So it never even got to the point of me actually walking into a room and auditioning with them. I called Dave and I said, dude, I love this stuff. This stuff sounds great, but good luck. I just can't do it. I cannot leave these guys after I made them trek all the way across country.
Yeah.
For the dream, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't do it. And then to turn around and go right back to Philadelphia where we all came from would have been a huge fist in all their asses. So I'm like, I just can't do this. You know what I mean? And then they wound up getting Sebastian and everything worked out the way it's supposed to work out. It was great.
Happy ending for all, huh?
Happy ending for everybody.
For everybody. I wanted to get that straightened out. Now, also over here, chick that, for some reason I have a song for you by Leon Russell in my head. Why? John would do a great version of that song. It's one of my favorite songs by Leon Russell. A song for you.
Leon was great, and I highly recommend it. I'm sure everybody saw it, but what was that fucking dude? I cried like a bitch when I saw that documentary that Elton John did. I think it's called Two Pianos.
I have not seen it.
Oh my God, dude. You got to look this up. Elton John, he starts the documentary off by saying he was kind of wondering whatever happened to Leon Russell. And he said, Leon Russell was a huge influence on Elton John's playing. So in this documentary, he kind of sits down and he tries to figure out where Leon is.
I did see it now. You
Yes. And he finds him. To be honest with you, Leon was living in a house like 20 minutes from my house, not in squalor, but not doing well financially. And he finds him and says, "Hey, love to write some music with you. Let's do an album together." You know, and they do this fucking album. And dude, there's one scene in there where Leon comes into the studio and they meet each other and they start throwing ideas together. And then Leon had to go have some brain surgery, and he comes back, and then it's weird. Like, they're interviewing Elton, and in the background, Leon's playing a song. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the song, but it's something about you're my angel. And Elton's listening. He's talking, but he's listening, and he goes, and then he goes and he watches, and Leon Russell writes this song for Elton John.
Wow.
For literally kind of saving him and helping him reestablish himself again. And like, Elton's crying. I was crying when I was watching it. It's such a touching moment. It's so powerful. And then the beauty of it was, like, they weren't real sure how the album was going to do. Yeah. And it winds up winning like a Grammy. It sold millions of records, and they did like a run at Radio City Music Hall. Like, they were just going to do a date or two, and it wound up being like 20 dates, all sold out. And Leon Russell's back on the map again. And, you know, shortly after that, he passed away. Like, this is like, hey, here's my fucking swan song. And thank you, Elton John, for making it happen.
Beautiful.
And it's a beautiful fucking documentary. You guys got to watch it.
I did see it.
Two pianos.
I did see it. And you know, it's funny because he was part of the Wrecking Crew, which you and I used to do Tuesday night jams at the Baked Potato, owned by Wrecking Crew Don Randy, which, you know, back then when we were doing those jams and Don was hanging out, we didn't even realize we're hanging out with a real legend there of Don Randy, who was doing it all, playing on all those great records, the Beach Boys, all that good stuff, you know?
Yeah. And it was like, you know, the other thing, another member of that thing that didn't realize that I just watched there's a documentary on the Wrecking Crew as well. Mm-hmm. Glenn Campbell was another member of that. Somebody just asked me, hey man, who's your favorite guitar players? And I ran, you know, Jimmy Page, Joe Perry, Eddie Van Halen, Glenn Campbell. Yeah. And they go, what? Glenn Campbell? And I just started pulling up videos. I go, dude, that motherfucker could play anything. And well, he was fucking awesome on guitar.
Glenn Campbell, yeah. I actually, we were at Alice Cooper golf tournament, got to jam with him. Now, really quick, because I got to go at 11 a.m. We got in Patreon, Anson Williams of Happy Days. Patty is going to be live with us in Patreon, so you people catch us there. And all links in our description down below. But also, you could get John's new song.
I'm glad I could warm everybody up for Anson Williams.
He's going to talk about Elvis Presley, meeting John Lennon. But John, you could be in the interview too with me if you want. But okay, all right. Just letting you know, I like having you. You're like it's like Dean Martin, my co-host here. I got to ask you, because I can't get this band to even talk to me. What is going on? And here, this could be something for Blabbermouth, you guys out there. The Union Reunion. What is going on with this? The people want to know, Corabi. They want to know the Union Reunion. The Union Reunion.
Look, at the end of the day, the record label just kind of they're going to do a short run of each studio record that we did, and we'll put it out. I was just talking to Bruce the other day, and you know, we're you know what, it's weird. It's kind of the story of my life, which is funny. The title of the book that I just is coming out is called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and it means I'm close. I'm always close. I'm just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I'm the king of being at the right place, but always at the wrong time. And, you know, Bruce and I had talked about maybe, you know, a few years ago, somebody was like, oh, you guys should do a record together. And I just saw Larry Mazer, our old manager, on the boat, the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, man, I really wish you and Bruce would just do another record together. And I said, you know what? It's a different time. It's a different place. Let's just put these records out, and I even said this in the past. I go, I wouldn't be against doing some shows just to see where we register with the fans in live. If fans start showing up, then maybe what we do is at some point we sit down together and we write a couple of songs and do them the way I'm doing them now, like a song and a video, and just put them out there, let people download them, release them, whatever, do an EP, whatever. But at this point, there's, Bruce is so busy with Grand Funk. He just said, he goes, I haven't done this many gigs ever since I've been in 20 years. I haven't done this many gigs with Grand Funk. Brent's out right now with Slash.
That's right.
I'm doing it. I've got 50 different things going on. Jamie's on tour with, he was on tour with Roger Daltrey. So we're just, it's
great band.
Timing
thing. Great band, but the timing is off. And Bruce is doing Grand Funk, and also the Lisa and Bruce show they do together too. They do the acoustic, which is
and he's got another
one of Eric Singer's favorite shows out there.
He's got another side thing that he's doing with in Vegas. They kind of do shows here and there, but he's got Zach Throne and Todd Kearns.
Part of Slash's
and
band.
Brent Fitz, and they're just doing some.
It's like a star.
Yeah, they're just doing songs. Like they do some Union, they do some Kiss, and they just go out and play and have a good time. So he's got a bunch of shit going on. As we all do.
What about you, me, Ricky Rocket? We put something together. We could have a fun band, and you have a good-looking bass player in the band. That's what you need.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
You got to have a good-looking bass player.
You got to have a good. Okay, we had a question here that somebody was asking over here. I want to get fans. Daryl goes, "How about the Dead Daisy story? What was that like?" And you were awesome in that band.
Well, thank you. There's really no. I mean, that band was so fucking busy. There was like zero time to do. I mean, we had some fun, but it was just work. Like when we were together, it was work. Like there was a schedule, and boom, 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 boom. We did the tour. We came home. We all started writing riffs for the next record. So it was very methodical about how it worked. The biggest problem with that was, I know a lot of people want to know why I'm not in the band anymore, but it was really just a thing. Like I was doing a solo band with my son when I got the call. And initially they said, well, we're going to need you about half the year. And I was like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. Like, even I don't really give a shit. I'm like, if they need me in the summer, I can tour with my solo band in the winter. No big deal. But once I did that first record with them, it just started to really take off to the point where that's all I could do. Like I was like, I want to release this music and most of the music was stuff that, like the song Casi Bella was a song that I had actually brought to the band for them on when we did our last record. And they were like, I'm just not hearing it. So I said, okay, no worries. I saved it, but I just didn't have the time to put anything out. Like I didn't want to put a song out when they put a song out. So even my live album, Live 94, I recorded that thing in 2014 or 15, and I sat on it for 2 years. So I just kind of said, you know what? I love the band. I had a great time in the band. I'm still on good terms with everybody in the band, but I just wanted to you know what? Let me get off the the carousel for a minute here and breathe and go do some song and shows with my band, my son, really mainly my son. And oddly enough, now I was 3 years out or 4 years out. Now my son's doing other shit and I'm waiting for him. But that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Whatever. That's the only reason. I was just like, I mean, it was just constant. Like if we weren't in the studio, we were on tour. And I just didn't have any time for anything else. And you got to remember too, I had just gotten married to Debbie in August of 2014. And February, I think it was January or February of 2015, they called me. So I was like, you know, I had like that little 4-month honeymoon with her. And then at that point, I was gone. Like I was doing records in Australia. Then I was on tour. I was in Europe. I was in Russia. I was in Australia. I was in Japan, you know, and then I'd come home, do another record, and then boom, right on tour again. So I'm like, I'm just going to get off this carousel for a minute and kind of, you know, tell my wife that she has a husband.
Yeah.
And then go do some shows with my kid. That's all.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, the
nothing more than
Daisies. I'm not really familiar with the band that much. From when you were in it, but it seemed like a more uniform band when you and Mendoza are in the band. It just seemed you seemed like the right singer for the band. I gotta tell you, you know, nothing, no disrespect to Glenn, but it's just a different band, different sound.
Listen, if you got to be replaced by somebody, Glenn Hughes, dude, the guy's a fucking legend. And oddly enough, I've known Glenn since I was in Motley because Glenn actually came in and sang on Misunderstood with me.
Yeah.
From the Motley record.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he came in the studio one day and we're like, you know, he was listening to the new music and we're like, he's going, fuck, this is great, mate. You know, and we're like, do you want to sing on something? And he Misunderstood was up. It was on he goes, yeah, sure. So Bob goes, well, what about this one? What would you do? And this is the difference between artists from like the 70s and artists today. Like Glenn literally walked into this room and he took the headphones. We gave him the lyrics and he listened to it and he was like, he listened. He goes, all right. Yeah, let's try it. And we started the song in the beginning. He ran through it. He did a bunch of shit like harmonies just off the top of his head, sang with me, answered, boom, boom, boom. He did it. And Bob goes, hey, just, you know, one more time for good measure. And he did it again and he left. It was like, oh my God. Like he just literally came up with harmonies on top of my shit. Like he listened. I got it. Let's do this. And he fucking ran through the song from top to bottom and just nailed it. And it was unbelievable. We were all like, it was crazy. And during the same thing, you'll get a kick out of this because I know you're a Beatles fan. Okay. We're sitting there. We had this song called Baby Kills. And we're like, we're kind of hearing like this clavinet part we wanted on the track. And somebody goes, who can we get to play clavinet? We go, let's call Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
Right? So Stevie's not available.
Okay.
So then they're like, fuck, who else plays clavinet? And I go, Billy Preston. And they go, fuck, are you kidding me? So they called Billy Preston. Next day, Billy Preston walks into the fucking studio, sets up his shit, and he plays clavinet on Baby Kills. And we're like, oh.
Billy Preston.
Dude, yeah. So, fuck, this is crazy. This is awesome. So then we're sitting around. He gets all done, and we're just bullshitting. And so, you know, we're all sitting there. We go, dude, okay, I don't want to fucking be fanboy right now, but can you play the solo that you played on Get Back? And he goes, yeah. And he sits down and dude, it was the sound and he fucking just nailed it. Like he note for note and he's playing Get Back and he's singing along. And then he did that song, ain't got no melody, bow, bow, down to my friend. We'll go round in circles.
Yes.
And he's playing it in the studio. We're all like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. It was awesome. So we had Glenn and Billy Preston, but that was the difference. Like those guys just come in, they listen to it once and they play.
Was he credited on the record, Billy?
Yeah, he's on the record. He's
credited.
Yeah.
Wow. How many days was he in the studio for, Billy?
He was in the studio one day, maybe 2 hours. But that's what I'm saying about the difference between the guys that we grew up listening to and the guys now that have Pro Tools and auto pitch and auto tune and auto correct. And, I just moved this part here. And, like Glenn Hughes literally listened to the song one time and sang. And what you hear on the record is like a one take thing. And then Billy Preston on Baby Kills, I don't even think they had to punch him in on anything. Like he listened to the song, he kind of mapped it out on a piece of paper, and he just sat there with headphones and he played the song in the fucking studio, and it was fucking genius. It was unbelievable.
Were the other guys in the studio with Billy Preston in there?
We all were. We were just sitting there. Bob Rock was like, "Oh my God, this is great!"
Right? Everybody was fanboying out on Preston,
we were
right?
all fanboying out. Like Billy Preston, are you kidding me? He played with the Stones, the Beatles.
John Lennon basically wanted him in the Beatles at that point. If you watch the Get Back,
yep.
You could tell. You could tell Lennon really wanted him there to make him the extra member.
Yeah. And it was like, oh my God, dude, are you kidding me? And then then we fanboyed and we said, could you play the solo to Get Back?
Did you get the jam with him or anything?
No. He just, because our gear we were kind of mixing
just set up
adding.
for him. Yeah.
But he just literally, oh yeah. And he sat down and he thought about it for a minute and he just fucking played it.
He thought about it for a second, huh?
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, that song. And he just fucking played
that
it.
Song.
And he started singing it, And then I was like, Circles, dude, can you do Circles? And he just started playing it and singing it. Just piano, no mic,
Billy
just
Preston.
sitting there singing in the room. And we're like, this is fucking amazing.
Wow, amazing. Billy Preston. That did you get a picture with him?
We took photos, but I think the guys have them. Do you know what I mean? Because that was, we were like getting all this shit together, but I think Nikki and Tommy or one of those guys has the photo.
Somewhere's a photo of the crew with Billy Preston out there. Yep. John Corabi. These are great stories. Everybody, you know what? I could go longer with Corabi. It's hard to get him on the show, but then you can get him off the show. But these stories are so good. I didn't know the Billy Preston story, Well, here he is, John, from Eddie Van Halen to Billy Preston to Motley Crue. The guy has played with them all. Look at it. We talked about the crew. We talked about his relationship, about him and Tommy. We talked about his new music out, his top 5, if you want to watch this, Motley Crue songs. And also, Your Own Worst Enemy is out now. Download it, buy it, subscribe to it, share it. Tell everybody you love Corabi. He's our bud. He's our friend. We love him. The mystery guest of today, it was John Corabi. Look at that, huh, John? What you can do. One man can make a whole show.
I just get up every morning and I just say to myself, God, if I was only as good looking as Stefan. Do you know what I mean?
No, John, you can be. And you know what? For everybody else out there, you guys subscribe, hit that bell to be reminded for this wonderful show, and tell everybody that you love us, you enjoy us. And remember, the first of the month, we're doing a vinyl game show where you could be a part of it. Go to adikalive.com, send me your Venmo information, your email address. I'll pick your name out of the hat. We'll put you on the show. You could win either money from me. That's right, Corabi. I'm giving away money.
You know what I'm going to do for you, my friend?
What?
I'm going to say that the next time you do your thing, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you. I'm going to send it to you, and you can give it away.
Debbie Mola is going to
be a prize.
All right.
Hold on.
We got. See this, everybody. Everybody, thumbs up. Thank you, Xandra. Thumbs up. Thank you, Donnell. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you. Please subscribe to the show, Patreon. I hope you liked it. Subscribe to this channel and share it with everybody. I could use the help.
I got it right here. Hold on. Oh, shit. Where'd it go? Oh, here.
John's on the roll. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Give us the thumbs up. Oh, the scream. Yes. Yeah. That's cool.
I'll send you one for the prize.
Oh, that's cool.
You can give it away. It's the new one.
That looks great. Let me make a picture of that bigger. Hold that up for everybody to see this, John. Look at that. That's a beautiful record. Oh, I love it, John. Yeah. Excellent. So John Corabi's getting
when you get off, send me your.
We will put it on there. Look.
Send me your address, and I'll send it to you. And when you do your contest, whatever, you can give that away to the winner.
Look, Chick is upset with me. Never call up someone that wants to talk. You know what? I'm sorry. Look at that. Xandra goes, Stefan isn't. You know what? We are going to put it out there for a prize. Everybody, we will put it out there for a prize, but you got to put your name in the hat. ADIKALive.com. Contact me there. Email me your information. We are going to draw the names out. I will pick them to play on the game show. And you know what I'll do? We'll make John Corabi the co-host with us with Joe Travis and Ed Stasium when we do it. Okay? You promise you'll be on the show when we give that away.
Which Ed Stasium was supposed to produce that record. And I don't know why it didn't happen, but whatever.
Ed Stasium was supposed to produce
one of the guys that came down to produce
record. Wow. I think we're gonna need a part 2 for that. So it didn't happen, but Ed his name was in the hat to produce it.
He came and watched us. We did a showcase for him.
Well, you know what? I think we're gonna do the game show with you and Ed. That's it. And we'll give away the record. Hey, Ed, this is the record that you kind of blew it. What's wrong with you?
No, he didn't. I don't.
Joking.
It was whatever.
No,
it is what
you
it is.
know me. I'm joking. He's my friend. Trust me. He loves me more than Nikki Sixx loves me and Debbie Muller together. But Nikki, I want you to make up with Nikki. Nikki, if you're watching, John's a good guy. He loves you. And Tommy, if anything said wrong in this interview, please love the music, love the man. We're all good people. Just love us all. Buy John's new record. Download it, get it. Subscribe to this channel. I want to thank everybody in the chat. All the new people that I see here. All right, here. Thank you very much. Space, new person here. Subscribe. Thank you. Thank you for joining. All you new people, we love you. I got to go into Patreon and talk to Potsy right now. We're going to talk to him.
Go talk to Potsy.
But until then, everybody, John, before you get out of here, before I get out of here, we have to roll the outro, everybody. Remember, subscribe and check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This show will be downloaded up there. And remember, everybody, who loves you, baby? We do. It's only rock and roll. Until then, everybody, I will see you a little later, but hopefully not too later. That's John Corabi. You can get his new music right now, Your Own Worst Enemy, right now. And for more great episodes, hey, John, you know what they need to do? They need to click right on this box that's going to cover my face right there. We'll see you all later, everybody. Bye.